Let me first greet and appreciate Professor Amir and Fordham University for organizing this important meeting. Let me also greet you, General Sombeo, as our moderator today, our uncle, Dr. Francis Deng, and the attendees in this important gathering. Let me immediately go to answer the question. Number one, that is, what are the steps needed to complete the transition? But let me say that this meeting, in fact, came in a very crucial time, where South Sudan is facing the situation whether to be or not to be. We are losing the country as we are seeing, and there is a need for sons and daughters of South Sudan to put their heads together to find a way to rescue this great nation. According to Professor Amir here, and especially in the article that they wrote, his uncle Francis Deng, which they call it, the situation they call it unfinished transition. With due respect to their definition of the situation, the National Salvation Front view the situation as political stagnation. And that is because the transition period is supposed to happen, is supposed to start after the signing of the peace agreement in 2018, did not start. We in the National Salvation Front, we call it an aborted transition, because this transition did not start. We are now 8 years, and according to the international observers, 10 to 15% only of the agreement, that is the part which is implemented. We call it an aborted transition because, number one, from the onset, President Salva Kiir himself admitted, and all of us know this, that the agreement was not meant for implementation. This has clearly demonstrated lack of political will to implement this agreement. Though for us, the National Salvation Front and SOMA, this agreement was flawed, and this is why we refuse to sign this agreement. But despite all this, Salva Kiir refused to implement this agreement, and they came with a design to abort the implementation of this agreement. And this is why they came with this strategy to cripple and dismantle the peace partners by design. They started to recruit the members, the political and military members, the partners of the agreement, attacking their military bases, destroying them, arresting them. In many cases, some of these colleagues were killed, and finally, their leader, Dr. Riek Machar, was arrested. The regime decided to control critical institutions, such as security sector, judiciary, and economic institutions of the country through ethnic policies. This situation has resulted to an autocratic regime where one person controls all the institutions of the government. At the same time, they introduced this ethnicized type of governance system in the country. They become very oppressive, using security forces to arbitrarily arrest, kill, displace the citizens, and even kidnap activists and dissidents. There is, of course, it is a known story, massive corruption, looting of the resources of the country, and this has resulted to a really state capture of all the institutions. There is no civic space and freedoms in South Sudan. So what we call an aborted transition, because this transition did not started. It was aborted, and the status quo continued up to this moment, controlling South Sudan. Even the 10% or 15% of the agreement, it was only this distribution of positions to the opposition who decided to sign this agreement and go in. And all these positions are empty, without powers. All powers remain to be with Salva Kiir and his group. And this is why we did not believe that there was a transition. The transition was aborted and did not take place. And this is why we remain stagnant, with this status quo as before 2018 agreement. The question is, what is the way forward? I just want to go very quick to maybe complete what I want to say in this short time. What is needed for us to rescue South Sudan? South Sudan, I think, needs its own daughters and sons to sit together so that they discuss their problems. We recommend that South Sudan, at this stage of collapse and disintegration, require us to do the following. One, we need a new comprehensive, inclusive peace process that involves all the stakeholders in our great country, the opposition movements, the opposition parties, civil society, faith-based groups, women, youth, so that all of us we sit together to discuss the future of our country. At the same time, this need truly neutral mediators, credible guarantors, neutral and safe venue for all participants, agreed framework by all parties for a clear agenda. You know that in most cases, and especially in Khartoum, the agenda was not from the participants, but from the opposition groups. People were given an agenda to discuss. And this also repeated itself during Tumaini. And this is why the National Salvation Front and SOMA could not really join, because we were calling for a new process that brings all of us together and to discuss the root causes of the problem. But of course, in Kenya, it was demanded that people need to find better ways to implement the same failed agreement. And this is why we could not join. It is time now for us really to look and to create conditions and situations that can allow South Sudanese to sit together and to rescue their own country. And this is why we need agreed a framework. At the same time, we need a comprehensive, genuine, and inclusive peace process if we can succeed as South Sudanese, so that we can form a genuine interim government of all of us. As Lual Dow put it, immediately in this interim period, we need to start immediately with a federal system of governance, so that we allow our people for the first time to start managing their own affairs and governing themselves. We know that all powers all governing government powers in South Sudan is under one person, that is Salva Kiir. All our people, the South Sudanese, they fought this long war of liberation for their freedom, and we need to give them a chance now to start managing their own affairs. And for us, the best way is federal system of governance, so that they are free to manage their own affairs. At the same time, we'll want a real...
1 minute, 1 minute, please.
Thank you. To be creative, so that after that, we repatriate our people, we resettle them, then we go for population census. We can now, after that, we can conduct elections. And the South Sudanese will now choose their own leaders. And this is where we will be able to usher into a democratic time for the first time in our history. As for the question about the impact of the war of Sudan in South Sudan, of course, there is now a spillover to South Sudan, and we know that Sudan is accusing, it is there, Sudan is accusing South Sudan of supporting their insurgent groups. So this has increased insecurity due to porous borders between the two countries. South Sudan is already a hub for crime and trafficking. At the same time, there is now South Sudan is accused to be sending mercenaries to Sudan. South Sudan is also unable to manage the territorial integrity of this country. So, Jana Sombeo, thank you. I will stop here. And if there is anything, I will come back later. Thank you.